Hey everybody, it is Friday afternoon and I have been doing some work around the fish room. I've done several water changes and I've gotten a few tanks topped off and some glass wiped down. But I'm now getting ready to go out and hit the water. I'm going to be looking for some woodwork. And initially I was going to shoot this video for my 55-gallon tank because that's what I started with a little while ago. I did a big water change on that. I removed a little bit of the Anubias, and I more or less got this tank sort of prepped and ready to go for the new piece of woodwork that we're looking for. But I'm also looking for new woodwork that could go in this tank. I just got a piece the other day that wound up being way too big for any of my tanks. You can see this piece right here. It's sort of like a dead dry tree. So we're trying it just laying across the top of this tank, and I'm hoping it will sort of act to wedge what's left of my floating water sprite there between the original piece of wood and the new one. If you look, this original piece of wood back here was very similar. It was kind of a fallen tree. It had the roots and everything on it. Over time they've sort of rotted away and they're kind of stumpy looking now, whereas this one looks a little fresher, a little more crisp. We got a little more texture on the sounds like I'm describing a salad, but it's got more texture, the root structure and everything. So it's interesting looking. I like it. It just doesn't work in the tank. So I can always find something else that would work in this tank. I know this tank's already overly crowded. I've got a log in there, but I'm always open to the idea of, I'm definitely a go big or go home kind of guy. I don't mind putting big, bold structures and rocks and pieces of wood in my tanks at all. So we've got this to look at or think about while we're out there. We have got this tank, which also needs a piece of woodwork. The piece of woodwork that I've got I've got in mind for my 55-gallon, I've already found a piece out there. It's sitting there waiting for us to go get it. It might work in this tank, and it might actually work better in this tank. I don't know yet, so we're going to have to wait and see. But I really want to get rid of this piece because this was just sort of something I grabbed. It created some texture in the tank. It was something to look at, but I've never really liked it. It always looked kind of weird. It looks like a field hockey stick or something, and it just will not sink. This end of it just floats and floats and floats, and I'm just done with it. I want to get that out of there and get something else that looks good in there. Again, all that stuff was just sort of a mishmash. I just grabbed some sticks and stuff out of the stream just to give it a nice natural look, and I accomplished that, but I'm ready to sort of step it up and make it look a little more appealing, and I definitely want to get that field hockey stick out of there. So that's going on. Nothing really going on in the 125 here. We will be talking about this tank in the near future, but not today. My other tank is my 20-gallon that I've been cycling in. We're going to be talking about this tank in the very near future too. But if I find some wood that goes in here, I'll bring that home today too. I've got something really specific in mind that I want in this tank. I'm kind of giving up on the idea that I'm ever going to find that, but I might find something that does work. So this tank is sort of on the menu today with what we're going to be looking for. Again, my native tank here, we're going to be looking for something that goes in there. Possibly we'll see what goes on with this tank. I did do a big water change and removed a little bit of plants and got the glass cleaned up and did a little bit of work in this tank today finally. For my regular viewers, you'll know what I mean by that. But then this tank is the one that we're really going out, and we're going to try to find that. Well, I know exactly where it is. We're going to go get that piece of wood. And the idea is I've got a big pleco in this tank, and the piece of wood sort of looks like a root that comes up out of the ground and sort of just goes that way. It's not really elaborate. It doesn't have a ton of, it's not all branchy and twiggy. It doesn't look like a root structure. It's just a really attractive piece of wood with a really, really nice grain structure, a really nice deep dark color to it. And I just think it would look beautiful in there, and it would give that pleco something to sort of hide underneath. And I think it would be functional as well as really attractive. So anyway, enough rambling on. I'm just kind of killing some time while I wait for this tank to finish filling up. When this tank is done, we're going to get the kayak in the back of the truck and we're going to get out on the water and start looking for some woodwork. All right, everybody, here we are. And I I have been out here for a few hours. I've covered several miles of shoreline, and I have not found anything that is catching my eye or making me want to take it home. So we're going to go and find that piece that I was talking about back at the fish room. I know it is somewhere on the shoreline over here somewhere, but I'm not exactly sure where. So we're going to have to get up nice and tight under the trees and paddle along like I was the other day, and I'm sure we'll find it. It's not as daunting as it seems on camera. Shouldn't take us too long at all to find it. So sit back and have a little bit of a look at some trees going by for a moment. We'll find it. I think that's it right there, but I'm not sure. Yep, that's it. The water level's gone down. I was able to get right up against it the other day. There we go. So I'm hoping I'll be able to put it in something like that. Might have to go in like this. I don't know. But there we go. That is coming back with us. And here we are back at the tank, and I don't know why I'm surprised by this, but I'm really surprised that this piece of wood is still fairly buoyant. We did actually find it sitting on the ground out of the water, so it really shouldn't be surprising that it's still buoyant. But as heavy as it felt, I really thought it was just going to go in there and go straight to the bottom. So we're going to let it sit in the tank. It will take on water, and we can already see one little refugee already. I'll go ahead and collect that up and take him outside. You can see a little spider right there. It's another little refugee. Go ahead and collect that one up. Maybe we'll leave the spider in there. We'll see how long it takes to become fish food. But I'll go ahead and collect those little bugs more than likely and get them outside. But the piece of wood itself, unfortunately for those poor bugs, they're going to get wet. The piece of wood itself looks fantastic. I think what we're going to wind up doing is going with it in this kind of direction, and I will be able to get it hopefully on the bottom. That will create a little bit of cave space underneath of it for my South American catfish. And then with it being sort of up and over in this kind of position, it will create some shelter underneath of it. I can maybe get some plants growing on it, maybe attach some of this Anubias to it, maybe get some of that Java moss growing on it. I don't know. We'll see what we can do with it. But there you go. There's the new piece of wood in my 55-gallon tank. I really, really like the way it looks. I just can't wait for it to actually sink. So, all right, everybody, there you go. Final look at it. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you're subscribed. Don't forget to check out my other channel, Dan's Outdoors and More. I got a lot of video footage while we were out on the water today, and I'm going to be putting that together into some sort of outdoors video. I did a little fishing. We caught some fish, did some sightseeing. Covered about 5 miles, so there will be plenty of video to come on my other channel. Make sure you check that out if you're interested in the sort of outdoors kayaking, fishing type videos. So thanks again for watching this one. Don't forget, this here is my 55-gallon tank. You can look forward to the changes coming up as I start working on this tank and getting that piece of wood in there. In the meantime, I'm going to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you real soon in the next one.